What's up, you beautiful people? Welcome to another video. Okay, I want to break down for you what I call the 8-figure blueprint. And in particular, if you want to build a 7, 8, 9-figure business, doesn't really matter actually what size you're trying to build. Maybe you're just started off and you're trying to get to your first 10K a month. Awesome. You fundamentally need 2 engines pushing this thing forward. If you are missing one of these engines, you're not going to go anywhere. You're gonna burn a lot of gas. Your wheels are going to spin, but it's not going to be enough to actually move you towards your goals. And I know this, again, firsthand experience. I have built a number of 7 and 8-figure businesses, had one 9-figure business. And without these 2 engines, that's when we were experiencing, okay, so like when these things get out of alignment, if you have one engine too powerful and the other one's too weak, and they're not thrumming at the same RPMs and they're not in sync, then you get this crazy wobbling effect inside of your business where you're like, oh my God, at any minute it feels like the whole thing's just gonna shake and rattle itself apart. That's horrible. So if you're one of those founders right now who is like, okay, my business is growing, things are happening, but like, God damn, it feels like it's about to explode. Okay, I'm gonna explain why that might be. And for everybody else, if you're trying to get your machine moving, well, start building it with intention, with the idea in mind that you need these 2 engines. So the very first thing is understand in business and life and economics and pretty much everything in life is like a supply demand equation. If there's too much supply for a given amount of demand, you have problems. If you have too much demand for insufficient supply, you also have some problems, right? So what we want to do is we want to marry those two, the supply side and the demand side of the equation, so that they are in sync. And when they are, things go pretty beautifully. So let me give you an example. If you have too much supply but not enough demand, that means, let's say you're a coach, you run a service business, you're a consultant, and you have 40 hours a week that you could be working, but you have no demand. Nobody's coming in, nobody's giving you money, nobody wants to work with you. So you're just sitting around for 40 hours a week, right? Or let's say you have a product business. Like we used to produce polyurethane widgets at Escape Climbing. And so like if we produce too many widgets at any given moment, then we have just all this inventory sitting on the shelves waiting to be sold. Not good, right? Because 1, you need extra space to hold that stuff. 2, there's all the opportunity costs that could have come from putting your people on building other things that were in demand. So like having too much supply, not enough demand really sucks. And honestly, that's probably where 90% of you guys and gals that are watching this, that's where you reside. You're like, how do I get more leads? How do I get more people wanting the thing that I have? That's a big problem. The other side of things is, okay, maybe you're a pro marketer and you're like, okay, we have more leads than we could even like fathom. We don't know how to process them all because we don't have enough supply. We have also had this issue. And I'm telling you, like, there's no worse feeling than turning people away from your product because you're sold out and you don't know when the next shipment is. Like again, at Escape, we would buy 6 months worth of inventory at a time from China, like in the context of metal hardware. And so usually, like if we were pretty accurate in our ability to forecast how much we were going to need in the next 6-month window. Sales are pretty predictable until 2020, COVID happens, world shuts down, all the climbing gyms shut down, and you would think that would negate any demand that you would have for any product. However, everybody went home suddenly and they just needed to build climbing walls in their backyard. So our demand went like 5x, but we still only had 6 months of supply. So guess what happened? That supply sold out in a month and a half. And then we spent the next 5 months. Well, actually, it wasn't even that. It was like 9 months because between shipments, China, COVID, all that, where we couldn't sell anything. People wanted to buy and we're like, man, we'd be making so much more money right now if we had more supply, but we don't. So those are really the 2 engines that you need to figure out a way to marry, is like your supply engine and your demand engine. So let's break this down. In particular, on both of these, I want to talk about the supply side first, because if you build your business with too much demand and not enough supply initially, like what you're going to end up having is a lot of pissed off people. You're going to have people that don't want to come back. So like you might have demand now, but because you did such a bad job of fulfilling on it on the first swing that you had with that customer, they don't come back. And so then you're going to long-term find you're going to have a supply demand issue on the other side, which is you're not going to be able to get anybody to come back because you burned all your bridges. So let's focus on the supply side. In particular, there's 3 things that I think about when it comes to ensuring supply side surplus or bounty, we'll say. First is time till first value. That is, if you want to deliver an excellent experience, an excellent product to a person, as soon as they buy from you, you have to start measuring how long does it take them to get their first dose of value from you after the purchase. This is really important. I'm not talking about like when they get the product or when they get the result that they bought the product to deliver. We're talking about what's the first experience of value that they get in that moment. And this can take all sorts of forms. So for instance, let's say you're a coach or a consultant. Somebody buys your product. They want to work with you. Awesome. Okay. Well, it's going to probably take you a couple of months of working with them before they start to see the fruits of the labor, before they start to see the results of why they started working with you. So what can you do between when they join and when they get that expected value to shrink that down? Because a lot of time expands right there. And this could take all different forms, right? But you want to be thinking, what is the first dose of value that somebody gets from me? For Amazon, somebody buys a product with one-click purchase, and then they get an email that says, hey, your order is confirmed. The moment that it gets shipped out, you get another email, hey, this thing is on its way. When you see like the mail carrier and it's like, hey, it's going to be there in the next 2 hours, these are all forms of first value. Another way of like realizing first value is, let's say, Apple. Apple is a fantastic example of this. You buy the product, you get the iPhone, you get the iMac or whatever, and it comes in this beautiful packaging. So the actual first value that you get is the unboxing experience. You bought the computer because you want the computer, and yet when you're unboxing that thing, it's like it opens so smoothly and it goes, pulls out, and it's like it's in this wrapping. You're like, this is really fun. It feels really tactical. It feels really good. Clearly, somebody cared a lot about it. So you're getting this experience of first value without even turning on the computer yet. It's not even charged yet, right? And you're already getting value from the thing. So that's the first thing that you have to solve on the supply side, is how quickly can you deliver that first dose of value? Second is time until expected value. And that's the reason why somebody buys the thing in the first place, right? I bought the computer because I need a computer. I need to use it to do things. So how long does it take me to boot this thing up? Does it take me 3 hours after the moment that I bought it to actually get it up and running? Or is it instantaneous? I just push the button, I'm logged in, it transfers all my information from my other accounts onto it, and now I'm using it within 15 minutes. Awesome. That means the time until expected value is 15 minutes after the time to first value was delivered. Right? The first value was the unboxing experience. The expected value is now it's booted up and it's fully operational and I'm up and running. Huzzah. The third thing that you have to solve for here is time until surplus value. Because if you just deliver on the expected value that a customer comes in with, like they get the computer, it's up and running, it's doing the thing the computer does, awesome. You're going to have a satisfied customer, but you're not going to have a raving fan. A raving fan is established by the excess value you deliver above and beyond their expectations. So if the computer comes and suddenly they're sending me an update next week that makes it like run 2 times faster or somehow like makes the memory even crazier and better or whatever, right? Like these are all ways of increasing on the value being delivered to the consumer without necessarily, without like wiring that into the expectation from the beginning. That's really important, because if it's expected from the beginning and one of the reasons why I purchased the thing, then it's not surplus value, it's just more expected value. But if you solve those 3 things, if you solve for how quickly does it take, how long does it take to deliver value to somebody, how long does it take to deliver their expectations, and how much in surplus can we deliver in value above their expectations? You solve those 3, you will never have a supply side issue, because for every customer comes in, they will stay, they won't churn, they will refer people, and they'll be a raving fan. So like that's how you build that side of the engine. The second side of the engine is the demand side. And if you're watching this video, there's a high probability that this is the side that you're struggling with right now. It's just like, how do I actually get people in the door and like buying my thing, right? So the 3 things that you need working in conjunction with one another on the demand side is you need an awareness vehicle, you need a consideration vehicle, and a conversion vehicle. So what that means is, first, awareness. How do people become aware that you exist? How do they know that you have a product that can help solve their problem? Like this is Instagram, this is LinkedIn, this is running ads, this is a billboard on the street. You have to make people aware that you exist. It's the first hurdle that every entrepreneur needs to overcome, which is obscurity. And truthfully, like most businesses die from obscurity than they do from indigestion. It's not from too much opportunity. It's from the fact that nobody knows you exist. Okay, so that's the first thing that you have to solve. And we have, by the way, like we have a ton of trainings on exactly this, like how to build your magnetic media machine so that you're attracting customers. If you want that, just drop the word media down in the comments. We'll send you a link to the full training for that. But first side of that is awareness. Make people aware that you exist. Second is consideration. It's not enough for me just to know you exist. I actually need to like want to do business with you. Like, so how do we go from somebody just knowing you exist to wanting to do business with you? That's where the consideration side of the demand engine resides. And we can do this on a number of different ways. Like you could do a YouTube video like this one, right? Like where we go deeper, you get to hear me talking. Maybe you, at the end of this, you realize, hey, actually I should be working with Anthony on something. Cool, right? Like, but that didn't come because you saw a 13-second, Instagram reel from me. Like that probably wasn't the thing that made you want to come and work with me. It's probably a longer form video, a longer form piece of content, just like this. So we have awareness that drives people to consideration, videos like this, right? And then finally, we have to have a conversion vehicle. Like we have to have a mechanism in place to get people to actually buy the thing. That could be a landing page. It could be an email list. Like there's sell by chat. There's so many different ways to convert somebody into buying your product. But you need to have it really dialed in for not just your avatar, but for your product, right? Like pairing the right conversion mechanism with the right avatar, with the right offer is key. Cause like there's plenty of conversion mechanisms that are effective. I've run landing pages. I've done sales by chat. I've done sales calls. Like they all work, but some work better within the context of different products and avatars better than others. And if you're not sure about your business and which one's best, again, just comment, like I said before, down in the chat, and I'll get you some resources that will help you figure that out. But I'm telling you guys, you get those two engines in place. You get your supply engine, you get your demand engine, you get those locked in place. You got a Ferrari. It's going to take you to 8 figures and beyond. No problem. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And that'll do it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.